Good morning. Welcome back to supplementary elections. Yes, expecting several other results, but we'll keep you well informed as we do get all of those information coming through to our election studios this Sunday morning. Well, we've got a gentleman here in the studios. As you can see, Ayodeji Onigbogi is a social commentator, as well as Segun Shogbuton, convener at Network. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, a lot of focus on the elections, different parts of it, the results, the process, and the entire scenario. Well, yeah, both of you have been keeping tabs on what is happening. Mr. Shogbuton, let me start with you. What's your reading of the process so far?
I think all in all, we all have got to be concerned because the process itself, one can say, has been, you have to look at the process from the point of view of logistics on the one hand, INEC's performance in organizing the election itself, and then the performance of the actors, the participators, which are the politicians. From the side of logistics, one could say INEC hasn't done too badly, and that won't be a surprise because these are supplementary elections, so more opportunity to focus on the few areas where this is going on. But that appears also to have resulted in a situation where the politicians have gone completely berserk, even in places where one would have thought where there is no tradition of violence, where things tend to have gone peacefully in the past. We are hearing reports, as you've been showing, Bauchi, Benue, Kano, have been pockets of violence. And, the process, you have to look at the process from that point of view as well, and we have to be concerned. Our elections has got to be better than this.
Mr. Nagbogi, how about you?
The process as a whole, let me just, if you're going to give a pass mark, probably 50, because the electorate, we contribute more to the process. And when I say the electorate, myself and every people on the street, all the voters. Most of these things that we do now, there have been pockets of violence, and it's caused by people on the streets. I think Nigerians, we should get to a level whereby what we will do, we should be thinking of tomorrow, not just today. The issue of violence here, violence there, it has gotten to a stage whereby that is what is disrupting the system. We remember that when we were doing the presidential, there were issues of violence. When we did the governorship, there were some places where we had violence, and now they are doing supplementary, and we see here violence. That shows that individuals, people that are on the streets, that are the electorate, we are the ones that are, this violence is not caused by sheep and goats, it's caused by human beings.
But then so what role would you place on people can't just go out of their way to cause violence?
No, it's something. It's two ways. It's either we have been oversight by the politicians because of the carrot and stick that they use, that's one. Two, is because there are a lot of mouths that are hungry in this country. So with very little sums of money, people can go bizarre. People can do anything just for money. And what I will tell the electorate is, either we like it or not, in as much as we might have been of the failed generation, we should try and make Nigeria work for people that are coming behind. And it is the way we do it.
Are you giving
now.
up?
No. So when I say, it's not like we're giving up. Either we like it or not, the system failed. But we can be corrected if we try to correct it now. But to go forward.
Do you, for those who think that perhaps the politicians are letting this continue, some of them, because the people just didn't push back enough? Is that why you think, because you said, look, for the governorship previously we had something.
Yes.
Previous one too, something similar. And now it's happening again. Is it happening because they feel that they can let it keep happening?
We have talked about it's systemic. The system, all these things will stop when Nigeria is matured and we get to a point whereby we can do electronic voting. Yeah, because with electronic voting...
We're not just going to grow up and...
No. So when you talk of maturity, in Nigeria, some 20 years ago, there was no GSM. There was no no connectivity. But now, the man that does shoemaking, everybody has it. So we can get the electronic process, the election process right in Nigeria in another 5-10 years. It depends on how fast are we ready to get this thing done.
But in the meantime, Mr. Shokbuton, what should we be doing?
So first of all, I think that the conversation around the methodology of the election itself needs to be looked at. So perhaps you want to, like he said, maybe go for electronic voting or some variant of it. You may want to go the full hog, as I'm sure you've been reading everywhere where people are saying we should be able to vote with our phones, even from the comfort of our homes. I don't buy into that. But the point is,
why is that?
Look, the technology, elections are a very, very sacred event. It's a sacred event. It involves the choice of the people concerning who will govern them, right? So you can't do that via any method that will be easy to compromise. So I don't know of any place anywhere in the world where you sit in your house and vote from your phone. So I would never, subscribe to that. However, sorry, Chamberlain, however, I think that, beyond the process of the election itself, we need to start taking a look at the reason behind the bad behavior. And I've always said everywhere that, look, if you like, go do telepathic voting. Let some device be hung to your head, and your choice is automatically picked and sent to some server somewhere. Mm-hmm. People will compromise that system if there is an incentive.
What do you think is the reason?
So the fundamental problem, if you do a root cause analysis, something we call root cause analysis, RCA, if you do a root cause analysis of election violence in Nigeria, you will come back to the fact that there is an incentive for bad behavior amongst our political actors. The resource concentration that they are going after is simply too much of an attraction. And no matter who you are, if you have access to the kind of money that politicians or political office holders have in this country, you will misbehave, because we're talking money in the trillions. And I, as an executive governor or as a president, and to some degree, as senators and House of Reps members, have simply too much resources at our control when we get into office. So we need to deal with that issue. That is our root cause. Until we do that, we're just going to be dancing around in circles.
All right, let's get to Mr. Victor Gewa. He's in Abuja. He's the advocate for people's rights and justice. Mr. Gewa, speaking about the people, their response to this, how would you assess their response? Is this happening because the politicians feel, well, the people are not responding enough? If they put their foot down as much as we perhaps want, then we will not be doing this?
Yes, that question came up some few minutes ago, and the truth is this. Yes, the people have a responsibility to play. I mean, the whole characters are human beings. They are not robots. They are not animals. So, the persons we are going to elect, the governors, the senators, they are all human beings. The people who are voting them are all human beings. They are all Nigerians. So the people issues have to be dealt with. Our values, our culture, what exactly do we want? And that is why in my introduction this morning I said, Nigerians, we are not yet ready for a free and fair election. We have, from what I have seen so far, Nigerians, all of us, all the stakeholders, INEC, security agents, the voters, we are not ready for a free, fair election. And my reason is, my reasons are very clear. The first part is this. I said we still have the culture of impunity. Now, if people know that when I collect 10 naira or when I collect 1,000 naira, I will go and instigate violence or disrupt the process, and I will be arrested, I will not go. I will not want to be arrested because of 1,000 naira. I mean, I don't know how much of money you would want to give me when I'm sure I am assured that when I go out and do an illegal thing, I'll be arrested. I don't want to take your 5 million naira and go and spend the whole money living in jail. I would not want to take your 10 million naira and spend my lifetime living in prison. I would not Nigerian prison. Maybe in other prisons I would love that, but not Nigerian prison. So it is impunity. That is why I emphasize the issue of impunity. When people know that when they commit an offense, they will be caught, they will be punished, then they also will be careful not to do that. The second part again is the people, just like what you reported in Bauchi State, where voters, according to your report, voters, drove away politicians with their tongue who were trying to undermine the process. It was the voters from your report that shows that your report shows that the voters, drove away politicians who were coming with thugs, according to the report, to undermine the process. So the people can also play a very big role. However, if you look at the report, one of the guys you interviewed said they did that with the help of the security agents. And that is where I go back. When the security agents do their job, it becomes easier for the people. Human beings are naturally belligerent. People want to break the rules, go elsewhere. There was a time somehow I was having an expired driving license and I wanted to drive my car. But I did it because I felt that, well, when I'm stopped, I can always talk my way out of it. But when I went to another climb, I couldn't attempt it because I know that there's no way I could explain away myself because of the rules. So when you have a law that is implementable, when security agency can enforce it, I think that there will be sanity in the system. So it has more to do with the persons, the authorities who have the obligation to enforce law than the people. Human beings will always be belligerent. Human beings will want to be recalcitrant. Human beings will want to undermine the process. But let us have an enforceable rule that can be able to bring us to order.
Mr. Giwa, someone here in the studio just talked about the reward system for the politician. Okay, it's like someone in office as president or governor or member of the National Assembly. That maybe the reward system is maybe also a little too attractive for anyone to say no to. What role do you think that can play in this whole process you're talking about? We'll come back to the impunity question, though.
No, you need to come again. I didn't get the question.
Someone in the studio here talked about the reward system, where the things that the politicians are looking for in office, the kind of resources available to the governor, to the president, to the members of the National Assembly. Could that also play a role in this whole imperfect system?
Yes, it does. It does. It does. As a matter of fact, in Nigeria, the biggest industry is the corruption and the political industry. We have people who are just outright politicians. All what they do is to see how they wake up in the morning and think of the office to go. They think of the office to aspire to, or they try to permutate how people can get to such offices. I have met a lot of them. They don't have what they do than what they get from the government. So the incentives are very, very high for political office holder. Not only the incentives are high, they are not accountable. And if you look at the judgment of the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal against Jolly Inyame and Joshua Dariye, who are right now in prison, you will hear where the Court of Appeal was saying that it is outright impunity for that governors, two of them were former governors of a state. They were just taking money from the public purse without any form of decorum. They spent money. They appropriated money for themselves. They don't care whether they are accountable to the people. They do it as if it is their private purse. And so these are the things that make some of these offices to be very attractive. Now, so the richest, in short, Nigerian political roadmap will show to you that you can be a wealthy man within 4 years. I mean, without even having an industry, without even having an investment, without having an office, a company per se. Nigeria is one of the states, I don't want to say it is only Nigeria, where you can go into a political party, In 3 years or 4 years, you become a millionaire. And you will come up not owning a company. You will come up not having an industry. You will come up not having a farm. You will just because you just aspire to become a particular office holder. It only happens in Nigeria. You don't have a company. You don't have an industry. You don't produce anything. You don't export, but you are a millionaire, haven't stayed in the position for 4 years. That is exactly the issue.
All right, so let's touch base with one of those states now where the supplementary election is going on. In Kano, for instance, one of the PDP leaders, Kwankwaso, has spoken that the PDP says that they want outright cancellation as a result of claims of irregularities in Kano. Let's find out what else is going on there now with our correspondent, Idris Jibrin. Idris, what is going on at the moment?
Yeah, good morning, Chamberlain. Thank you very much. Like you see, I am right now at the INEC Collection Center here in Kano, where we are waiting for the 2 local governments, Nasarawa and Kibia, which they are coming any moment from now. And you can see all the political party agents are here, and at any moment from now, when these 2 local governments arrive, the collection will commence. So I'm walking to the podium where you can see that the collection officer and the resident electoral commissioner and all other officials of the INEC that are supposed to announce the results are yet to arrive here. So any moment from now, once those 2 local governments arrive, the results will be announced. But as I'm talking to you now, all the political party agents are all here.
Just to take you back a bit concerning insecurity, what happened to the Commissioner of Police? Nobody heard much from him for the supplementary elections.
Well, I don't think if I can actually speak for the Commissioner of Police, because, you know, there is a DIG that was posted to Kano, and then there is also some 2 police commissioners that were also posted to Kano, and the Commissioner of Police as well is also on ground. Even yesterday, he issued a statement saying that nobody should create any trouble within the metropolitan city of Kano, saying that everything is well, all is going on smoothly. Even yesterday, the Commissioner of Police spoke. So nothing is happening with him. He's around, and all his men are also around. I can see policemen even within the collections situation room.
Any updates concerning arrests of anyone from yesterday?
Well, from yesterday, from what you hear from the DIG yesterday regarding the people that were arrested early in the morning with some light weapons, as of this moment, we have not heard any case of arrest. Police did not tell us somebody has been arrested, and we've not had a crisis in any part of the state from as of yesterday to this moment as I'm talking to you. So there is no such kind of thing as arrest or violence in the city of Kano.
All right, but as we wait for the coalition officers to come through, are there security presence? Is there any way that you're hearing anything that may likely cause a hitch for the announcement of coalition?
Exactly. Normally, like you know, INEC headquarters is always, there is always a presence of security men. So from outside, there are policemen outside, and even from the inside, there are also policemen around. And basically, that one is normal in any INEC headquarters to ensure safety of the electoral materials that are coming in. So there is a presence of security men around outside the INEC building.
Pictures of some unfortunate scenario that happened in different parts of Kano, but we'll get back to you as we wait the collation of results right there in Kano. So there you go, my correspondent Idris Jibrin reporting from Kano. But gentlemen, speaking about Kano, there were several images coming through from different parts, several people.
Images and video clips.
Some of them are
very
yeah, not encouraging.
Worrisome.
Yeah, and I thought that previously they had the commissioner of police who was there. He was reported to have been doing a good job of his duty, saying he's not there to take sides with anybody. And then we had deployments of AIGs, DIGs, and then you have these pictures coming through. So what do we make of this scenario?
You know, this can only be at the realm of conjecture. We're not sure. What we know is, like I said earlier, you know, the elections took place. We had the presidential elections in Kano. We had the gubernatorial elections. There were some issues. Presidential elections, to a very large extent, was peaceful. We didn't have any serious reports of violence or anything like that. The gubernatorial as well was where we witnessed some issues here and there. And it seems like, not just in Kano, actually, across board, it's been a downward spiral. It's been a regression, if I may use that expression. So if you are trying to link that to perhaps the presence of people from Abuja in Kano, that's why I said, well, maybe, you know, that's at the realm of conjecture. Why is it that now, with only a few local governments at stake, violence all of a sudden came into the picture? One would have expected it to be the opposite, because you have a smaller territory to look after. You can deploy as many security officers as possible to ensure the peace is kept, and yet we're seeing the opposite. So it might be suggestive of some sort of use of state machinery by whoever is in control of that. I'm not going to make any accusations, but you know, it's cause for concern, because we would have expected the opposite. And I think that we need to demand explanations from the authorities about this. How can it be that with just I think it's just about 100+ polling units where the elections are going to be rerun in Kano, how come you can't police that effectively? It beats the imagination. So we should ask questions of, you know, the police hierarchy and whoever is in control of the security architecture there. What's going on?
One of the things that makes that interesting, if I can use the word, is that Kano is one of 22 states to watch. So it's not that we didn't know that this was going to happen.
Absolutely.
You know, Mr. Onibugi, that should give one, that's one of the reasons many people are flagging the capacity or otherwise of the security personnel. What's your take?
Well, my take is anywhere that involves people always show their capacity in America. The policing is quite right, but they still have hoodlums. They have people that are miscreants. You know, naturally, in Kano, this is a place whereby we have two big weights: the governor and the Kwakwanso, the other party. So everybody is trying to pull their weights. So naturally, when when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. And what are the grass? The populace, the general public. Because either we like it or not, people are using them. And naturally, even if a battalion of soldiers, everybody comes to Kano, there will still be violence. That's why I'm talking about people. We need to reorientate our people. Violence is not it. Because if not, what happened in Kano?
But would they be violent if they knew there would be serious consequence for that? That's what Mr. Giwa was advocating the other time when he was talking about laws, that we have laws.
Let me now put the question back. In Nigeria, is it that we don't have law? We have law. Is it that we don't enforce law? We enforce law. But now, it is just natural. Either in Rivers, in Oyo, in Osun, it is the big boys that will go back.
We have laws.
Yes.
We have enforcement.
Yes.
But we still have impunity.
It is because the system. Everybody is trying to beat the system, to circumvent the system. And what is the system? Some rogues were picked up. The big boys, we go and build them. So how would you want to? So these rogues are still available for the next set of violence.
I'm not so sure about that continuum of the law, enforcement, and consequence. I think usually what happens is that, yes, we've got great laws.
Yes.
We don't have any problem with laws in Nigeria. And, one wonders, sometimes you wonder what the National Assembly is doing there, because we have enough laws. Honestly. I mean, so the real issue we have is when you move from the enactment of laws to enforcement, and then the judiciary ensuring that the consequence for breaking those laws happen. And I can tell you, look, all the elections that we've ever had in this country, go as far back in history as you want, up until now. Nobody goes to jail.
All right, let's go to break. We'll come back and continue on this in just a moment. Stay with us.